Hello, I'm going to make myself a coffee table, and what I have to do it is some 15mm birch plywood. First thing I need to do is cut this in half. Freud have sent me some new blades and cutters to help with this project. At the moment I've got one of their 24 tooth rip blades in here, so I'm going to swap it out for a nice fine 60 tooth, which should leave a lovely finish on this ply. That's left a beautiful smooth edge. Now, why I've got two bits is I want to laminate them together so I have a nice thick tabletop. So we get plenty of PVA wood glue on here spread out and get these two bits clamped together. Right, I'm going to leave this to dry. I'm going to go and have my breakfast, drink my tea, and then we'll come back to this. I want this coffee table to be round, and I have a jig for my bandsaw for cutting circles. So I'm going to get these clamps off and then mark out the centre point of this. The jig works by having a 6mm dowel run in the centre, so I need to get a hole drilled for it to go into. Now I can get the peg put in the correct hole and then get the jig put onto my piece of wood and we'll get it cut out on the bandsaw. This came out great, but I think it's a bit boring just having a plain birch top. So I'm going to do some decorating on it. I'm going to draw a series of lines. There's a little pattern on here. Now my plan is to cut along those lines with the track saw, making some scoring cuts and then put a contrasting bit of wood inlaid in there. Obviously I need these cuts to be super clean. So I've got a brand new Freud blade that I'm going to get put in the track saw and then we're going to make these cuts. I've set the blade so it's only going to go down a few millimetres into this. Now I can get the track lined up on my lines and make the cuts. I'm really impressed with that cut. It's done an absolutely beautiful job. So now I need to fill this with a contrasting wood. I'm going to cut the strips on the table saw using the same fine tooth blade because I want a lovely clean cut. Instead of measuring the size I need the strips, I'm actually going to use the blade I cut the recesses with. So I've taken the blade out of my track saw. So I've got this little Freud blade. I'm going to get it put against my big Freud blade and lock the fence down. I want these to have a snug fit, but they're a little too tight at the moment, so I'm just going to give them a quick sand down. I think now they're going to be the perfect fit. Bit snug, but that's what I want. So let's get some glue put into these slits and get these installed. Those are in tight, no need for any clamps, so let's just leave it for an hour to dry. I left all of these long so they hang over the edge, so I'm just going to give them a rough trim down. They're flush there, but they're still proud at the top, so I'm going to grab a hand plane and give them a plane down flush with the tabletop. I've taken that about as far as I want to go with the plane, so now I'm going to finish off with the sander. That's nice and smooth, but what I think would be nice for the edges is to round them over, and what I have is a Freud router cutter. So I'm going to get this, put it in the router and round over the top and the bottom. I think this looks much nicer with the rounded edges on it now. Now we need some legs. So I've got the same wood as I use for the inlay to make the legs. I think I want them splayed out, so we're going to cut some bits down with a 15-degree angle. I'm using the same 62 Freud blade so I get a nice clean cut. Right, that's the bits for the legs, but what I need is these two base bits to overlap each other. So I'm going to get marked out the waste and get it nibbled away on the table saw. These two sections now slot together. Now we need to get the legs attached to this part. And what I have to do it is some 8mm dowels. So I'm going to get holes drilled in both parts and get these glued up. So legs are basically done, but I think they look a little chunky and look better tapered. So I'm going to get that marked out and cut on the bandsaw. There, I think they look better with the taper, but they're still quite square on the edges, and I think they look nice with a little round over. So I've got a little Freud round over bit. I think I'm just going to add that detail to it. So I think they look much better with that little subtle detail added. Now I need to get these legs attached to the top, and I have some button-headed bolts. These are M6, I want the heads recessed, so I'm first going to drill down with a Forstner bit, then I'm going to drill all the way through with an 8mm bit so I have some wiggle room. So to get these legs actually attached to the base, what I have is some threaded inserts. So now I can drill through these holes into the top and get the insert screwed in. Right, so we could install the legs now, but I think the stripes I've added are a bit too subtle. So I'm thinking stripes and dots. I'm going to use the plug cutter and put some little same details in, but round. Normally finishing is one of my least favourite parts of a project, but for this I'm quite excited to see how it's all going to look. So I'm going for some beeswax oil, and for the first coat I'm thinning it down with some white spirit 50%, and then I'll build up another couple of coats. I've built up several coats on this and it's all dry, so now we can just get the legs screwed onto it. There we are, a mid-century inspired coffee table. Made with some Freud blades I was sent. They did a lovely job of cutting this inlay. So all the blades and cutters I use will be linked below the video. So thank you to Freud for those blades. Thank you for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.